Keep yourself in the loop of everything football on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. The latest news on and off the field, be it college football, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC to the NFL. We've got you covered. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
And welcome to the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeff Malinoff, and with me for the last couple of days is Jesse. And we're going to go on about Le'Veon Bell and his possible destinations by end season. We're also going to be talking about the Rams and how losing their two corners and is that a big effect on them in the NFC West race. And also we'll be talking about the New England Patriots and Miami Dolphins matchup and how much of an impact that will be throughout the rest of the season. And we'll be talking about anything else that comes to our minds. So we'll go right into the Le'Veon Bell talks. Do you think, Jesse, that Le'Veon Bell is the perfect fit for the Eagles, or do you think he's meant for somewhere else?
Well, I mean, look at it. Earlier today, Jason Lockton 4 tweeted it out, reported it, that they were a sleeper team. So it's not like, I mean, like it's all rumors at this point. The Jets have been a team that have inquired. Like I know the Jets, according to Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio or whatever, have inquired about trading for Le'Veon. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. But as far as the Eagles, I mean, on the surface, when you hear that, you think, okay, that doesn't work. They got all these players. I mean, how would they be able to pay Le'Veon come into the season? And you think about it. I mean, who are they really paying now?
Yeah,
all right, you got Nick Foles.
Sorry.
Nick Foles is, I mean, I think he's got the second biggest deal on that team currently.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm saying this is probably the best possible time to get Le'Veon if you're the Eagles because of how many people you're not paying at the moment because of rookie deals and such. And even before, like you have what, 4 or 5 more years for Carson Wentz's rookie deal?
You got 3 more seasons.
3 more seasons of his deal. Sorry, but as soon as that ends, then you're gonna have an ultimatum. So why not take a big front-load contract for Le'Veon now and worry about when Wentz has his brand-new big boy contract later?
Yeah, because you're looking at it, and people might look at their cap space right now and say, oh, they only have $5 million left in cap space. And that's fine and dandy. But if you look more into it, and according to Spot Track, Fletcher Cox, he's on a deal till 2022, but I think the team can get out of that in the next couple of years. Nick Foles, I mean, the guy's a backup quarterback. They can get out of his deal if they want. Jason Peters is.
Would you trade Foles to get something out of it?
Trade Nick Foles?
Yeah.
Nick Foles has like no value right now. So
really, you would say he has no value right now?
I mean,
you don't think any team could take him? Like I would say, like the 49ers would. If I was them, I would take a chance at with. I know the money is slim at the moment, but with a backup quarterback, you don't have to pay him that much. With his contract he has now, he's not really worth that much, granted. So the Niners could take up that contract.
Well, I guess, but I mean, it wouldn't make no sense for the Eagles to trade him either because Wentz is coming off of an ACL injury, and if Wentz gets hurt like he did last year, I mean, you have no Nick Foles to fill in.
Well, if Wentz gets hurt again, that's just bad luck. I don't see him getting hurt again, tearing his ACL twice in 2 years.
But if you're the Eagles, you can't just go off of, oh, this would be bad luck. You have to prepare for every situation, right. So you do always need a backup plan. Also, being a top team in the NFL, it's always great to have a solid backup quarterback, which they do. So I don't think it would make sense for them to trade him, and also you wouldn't get much for him.
With Foles being a Super Bowl MVP, I'm assuming there's no rumors or anything about it as of late, but I'm assuming some teams are asking about him.
I wouldn't say right now. I think teams were probably calling about him in the preseason. You saw how poorly he played, and even week 1 and week 2, he wasn't great. I'm not sure people are really. I mean, if you're.
You think that Foles trend is over?
Yeah, Nick Foles is a backup quarterback. That's all he'll ever be. Okay, he'll give you a solid 5 or so games, and after that, it's pretty much you wait and see till he falls off.
So, a lot of people say the same thing about Jimmy Garoppolo. Do you agree with that, or do you think that injury was just a bad luck thing, and he'll be back into a starting franchise form next season?
Well, it's different because Foles has been in the league for a while. Garoppolo, I mean, he's still early on in his career. So we still got to wait and see what ends up happening as far as his development and all. I mean, but we've already talked enough about Jimmy Garoppolo. Getting back to Foles and all that, yeah, I don't think there's really any value. And as far as Le'Veon Bell goes, I mean, I think he'd be solid there. Like I said, looking at the surface, people may think, oh, well, how do they make it work? They just won the Super Bowl. They got to be paying someone. And again, they are, but they're not big deals or anything like that.
But again, we got to wait until a lot of those rookie deals and a lot of those other contracts expire. When they're asking for extensions, they're going to be asking for a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, the only positions you really pay a lot of money like that is the quarterback. And again, when Wentz is up for a deal, that'll be, like I said, and this is all hypotheticals because we're not even sure if this rumor is true. It's just more so a talking point because this is a big team, and like the Eagles and Le'Veon Bell there would, I mean, easily make them Super Bowl favorites once again.
Yeah.
Okay. But you look at it, if they were to trade for him, I'm sure Howie Roseman and that Eagles front office would be smart enough to give Le'Veon Bell a deal where a lot of his guaranteed money is coming off the books in the first 2 years of his deal. And by the time Wentz needs his, you'll be able to pay him. The Eagles, I mean, there's no way you bring on Bell and don't do that because I know they are thinking long-term as far as Wentz. Wentz is the guy you absolutely have to pay.
Absolutely, I agree with that completely. But with Le'Veon Bell, you see Kirk Cousins in Minnesota got a fully guaranteed contract. Do you see Wentz getting something around that same type of thing, or do you see more of a safe contract, if you will?
What is safe? Like, what do you mean safe?
Like, not all guaranteed. Like, maybe only not even a third of it is guaranteed. Like, type thing because had that ACL injury. So do you play? Do you put all your eggs in this basket and give him that huge amount of contract and most of it guaranteed?
Well, I mean, Wentz and his agent are only going to sign a deal that's beneficial to them. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe Wentz seems like the kind of guy, kind of like a Derek Carr type, and this is where the Raiders kind of messed up.
Do you see a fully guaranteed contract like Kirk Cousins got again?
I don't think he'll get a fully guaranteed one. I mean, Cousins is only getting about $84 million guaranteed. He'll get a deal like Aaron Rodgers or Matt Ryan where they're getting near $100
over
million
$100 million. Yeah.
Near $100 million guarantee. I'm not sure.
Well, that's still over $100 million contract though.
Yeah, but again, it's all about the guarantees, the incentives, and all
Aaron
that.
Rodgers
Don't really.
Is kind of a different species compared to everybody else. When you come to good quarterbacks, he's on another level. He's still number one in my mind.
Yeah, it's fine, but you can look at Matt Ryan. He's still getting $100 million guaranteed, so I'm sure Wentz
that was
will be right
after
there.
an MVP season, though. No.
You're paying, yeah, but you're not paying for what he's done. You're paying for what he can do for you in the future, and that's what the Eagles are doing there. I mean, if we want to get into semantics, Wentz was going to win the MVP last season before he blew out his knee. I'm sure he still
was in the running for MVP.
Yeah,
because it was very late in the season he tore his ACL.
Yeah, and I'm sure that by the time, I mean, even then, even if he doesn't tear his ACL, they're still Super Bowl contenders and all that.
Absolutely. Well, they won the Super Bowl for crying out loud, so there wasn't just like him alone. He just had a great team around him. Yeah,
so the Eagles are going to pay him as if he's the best quarterback in the league. He's going to get that kind of money. The Eagles
Their franchise.
The Eagles would be idiotic to lowball him.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. I'm just saying, like, would you put his ACL injury in perspective when signing that contract?
Like as far as the Eagles offering him a deal?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, but you're going to lowball Wentz. He could just go out and walk. So
yeah,
you're gonna
there's going to be a team that overpays him.
They can't lowball him, even the ACL injury or not.
I wouldn't say overpays him, but they will pay him. They will break the bank. Like I could see, like a lot of teams will break the bank for Carson Wentz, so they can't afford to lowball him.
And I'd say when he's at his best, he is one of the 5 best quarterbacks. So I mean, you're going to have to pay him top 5 quarterback money.
When he first came into the league out of North Dakota State, did you think he was going to be this good?
Or
do you think it was just part of a weak? He was playing weak college teams.
You don't really look at the wins and losses aspect of a quarterback coming into the draft, more so the mechanics and what they can do. I'm not a quarterback guru or anything like that, But, I mean, he pretty much fit the bill for your prototypical quarterback, arm strength. He's able to move around. He's got good pocket awareness, and he's got a cannon of an arm. So, I mean...
When you talked about wins and losses, you're totally right. Like, Mitchell Trubisky was the second overall pick, and he had the worst record going into for a quarterback drafted that high in history.
Yes.
He was like 8-5?
I think
with North Carolina. Like, you don't expect someone like that to go second overall.
Yeah, and I think the average fan maybe will look at the wins and losses part of it, but again, I mean, Darnold.
I would definitely put that in consideration when picking someone.
Well, look at Josh Allen with Wyoming; he didn't do anything.
Well, yeah, granted, yeah, and people still thought he was picked high.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, you look at him now. I mean, he just beat the Vikings.
He had one game. Let's take a chill. That's.
Well, I'm not saying he's great.
I'm saying he had a great game, no doubt about it. He's high right now. He's on a high. He should keep going with it. He should keep the momentum going. But saying he was the better quarterback than Josh Rosen is still to be determined.
Yeah, but I mean, we didn't even bring up Josh Rosen.
I'm just saying in that draft class.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, but like I said, the wins and losses don't really matter as far as college quarterbacks. I mean, if you play, yeah, I'd say they don't matter at all.
I think drafting a quarterback is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably the one position you can't guarantee.
Yeah, but bringing it back to Le'Veon Bell, I mean, as far as the Eagles, it's a possibility. I still think he ends up with a team like the Colts or Jets, maybe the 49ers, but you got to kind of wait and see about it.
The 49ers is a big if because they just lost their franchise quarterback and they're paying him a lot of money. And also, the Colts do have Andrew Luck, which could be a very dangerous 1-2 punch in the AFC South.
Yeah, plus you got T.Y. Hilton there too.
Yeah, that could be a dangerous team with Le'Veon. Like, I'm not saying that team's going to be the best team to lead with Le'Veon, but I'm saying it'll definitely boost them up to a potential playoff opportunity.
Yeah, I'd say Le'Veon with the Colts. I mean, you still got Jacksonville there, so I mean...
Would you see him at... Well, oh, you mean the AFC South?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant him going to Jacksonville. I'm like, no, they have Leonard Fournette.
No.
Yeah, but the Jets are still, I think, the front runners for him.
Yeah, and I'd say it's too early because, I mean, the Steelers don't really have to trade him soon. I mean, they could wait.
Oh, yeah, they can take their time.
If they trade him, it's going to be by the trade deadline. I don't think it'll be anything soon unless someone just gives them a great deal.
If they're waiting at the trade deadline, someone's going to offer them something ridiculous just so they will make it past that deadline, not pull the Browns like they did last year with A.J. McCarron, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Where they had the trade and just didn't forward it to the NFL. So I think waiting at the deadline is best because you're going to get the most ridiculous offers at that time.
Yeah, so we'll see what ends up happening with him. But
yeah. But we're going to take a little short break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Rams and losing both of their corners and if that's going to affect their chances at a Super Bowl run. We'll be right back right after this.
The average sedan is built with a steel frame and equipped with 6 airbags. Remember this the next time you see someone walking. Drivers, be aware. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety. The average SUV has 2 blind spots, weighs between 4,000 and 6,000 pounds, and takes about 6 seconds to stop. Remember this the next time you're on foot. Pay attention, people. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety.
And welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. We just talked about Le'Veon Bell and possible destinations for him, as well as possible contract situations in Philadelphia and other places. But right now, we're going to go about the Los Angeles Rams losing both their corners, Aqib Talib and Peters. Peters might play this Sunday, but it's still a questionable. Do you think this is going to put an impact on their playoff run?
I mean, if you look at it, the 49ers... You want to just pretty much put out there, they're not a good team.
Yeah, the NFC West is not good at all.
Right now. The Seahawks are not a good team. I mean, the Seahawks are going to be a 7-8 win team. I think Seattle's honestly going to end up finishing second in this division now that the 49ers are without Jimmy Garoppolo. And you look at the Cardinals, I mean, that's a whole other problem going on over there. But as far as the Rams, they are still clear-cut without their top 2 corners, whatnot. The best team in the NFC West. And by the time playoffs come, Aqib Talib should be back. Peters, like I said, he still might play on Sunday, so you're not really sure if he's even going to miss time. So, I mean, as far as it goes, I don't really think that there's a problem with them.
Do you take the risk and start him, though, if he's still lingering from an injury?
The guy says he could play and he's ready to play, then yeah, you play him.
All right, but I will still say the NFC West is probably the weakest division in the league at the moment, right now.
Yeah, but I mean...
when 3 out of the 4 teams are looking at 8-8 as a good season, then that's pretty bad. When you have one team dominating like the Rams are most likely going to. You can say the AFC South is up there too in weakness. I don't see another team as weak as the NFC West, though. Do you?
Well, no, but getting back to it, I mean, even if you had like Jimmy Garoppolo there with 49ers and say he plays a full season, they still, like, even with these injuries, like, let's say Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't tear his ACL, I mean...
That secondary is still weak.
Yeah, they're still not close to the Rams.
That's
even
probably
if
their Achilles heel right now is their secondary.
Yeah, they're still not close to the Rams, even if the Rams are missing Talib or Peters. I mean, the Rams are just still the best team in the NFL.
And the 49ers lost Richard Sherman for the next couple of weeks.
I'm not sure. Like, Richard Sherman...
He was still playing lockdown ball. They didn't pass to him, like, rarely at all during that whole game in the last 3 games. They barely passed to him because he was locking down defenders.
Yeah.
When you look at the passes that were... The poor secondary is on the completely opposite side of where Richard Sherman is. Mm-hmm. Like, Akeem Witherspoon is playing not very well. The safeties are struggling, obviously. It's not... Richard Sherman's their only defensive weapon in that secondary, and you can tell because he barely gets any thrown balls to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think Richard Sherman's on the back end of his career.
He's still playing strong. Well, he is injured right now, but he was still playing very strong if you watch those games.
Yeah, and he also, I mean, I'm not sure really what he was thinking as far as when he signed his deal with the 49ers. Made it a lot of incentives.
I think he saw a team on the rise because of Garoppolo and the 5 wins. I think everyone kind of saw, 5 wins in a row at the end of the season. That could mean something. But
I don't have a problem with him signing with the 49ers, but it's more so his contract was just filled with incentives and all.
I think it was more motivation for himself.
Yeah, but you got to be smarter at that point. I mean, him just not going in there without.
I think he has his money.
Huh?
He has plenty of money already.
Yeah, but I guess if that's not really important to him,
yeah.
But I mean,
we don't know him. We don't know what he's thinking about, and he could definitely still have plenty of money out of his Seattle contract, as well as probably some endorsements. So I wouldn't say that. I would say that he got those incentives as motivation for himself, like playing. But you play better, you get paid better, type of thing. But maybe that's not it. I'm not sure. But how you're looking at the 49ers secondary going into their holes, the secondary is their biggest hole right now.
Yeah, and getting back to the Rams, I mean, does this Akeem Talib, like I said, with him being out 8 weeks, do you think this makes them any worse than the Vikings or any of the other top teams?
Well, they are playing the Vikings, so it's going to be a very interesting matchup, that's for sure. I think this will definitely show where they are in the NFC, though. This could be the biggest test of the season so far.
And looking at their schedule, they got the Vikings Thursday night. I mean, we'll talk more about that game tomorrow, but I think we could both assume maybe the Vikings are the favorite, just given the Rams are hurt going into it.
Yeah, but I'm also looking at the Vikings and how bad they played against the Bills. I'm definitely taking that into consideration. But losing Akeem Talib is a huge hole in that defense.
Yeah, and I remember now that it's a Thursday night game, I'm not too sure that Peters does end up playing, just given
I think it's too early to put him in after not leaving the game on Sunday.
Yeah, I think if it was a game on Sunday, they were playing against the Vikings, maybe that's different there. But I'd say
but Thursdays are always a big if.
Yeah, so then they're in Seattle after that. They're in Denver.
I think they take that one in Seattle.
Then they're in San Francisco.
They have a pretty easy schedule going after that. Except for maybe the Packers and the Saints. But playing NFC West teams twice gives them a huge advantage for seeding wise, because none of those teams, I think they're going to sweep the entire NFC West.
Yeah, and I mean, we're looking at it now. Talib is on IR, so he'll be out 8 weeks. He should be back around week 11, week 12, or whatnot. So
I think they put him on IR so they can have him for the playoffs, because I think they're confident they'll make the playoffs still with the division win.
Yeah, and plus with him being out 8 weeks, you kind of got to put him on IR, given you need that roster spot. You're just not going to let him hang around there. So I mean, he'll be back week 12.
He's also a little old.
Yeah, but he's still playing at a high level also. So he'll be back. I mean, he'll be back week 12. It's not really going to affect him as far as maybe short term, but it's actually, you know what? I don't think it's going to be a problem. Now that I think about it, the Rams are still going to be a great team. They're still going to pick up wins. So I don't think this is really
their
much of a
offense
problem.
is still high powered. They still have a great defensive line. But losing those two guys is going to be a problem, but I don't think it's going to be a huge problem.
Yeah, like I said, with Peters, I mean, if they're missing him, it'll probably just be for this week, and he should be back next, so...
Possibly, yeah. They said it could be 2 to 3 weeks, too, depending.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if he says he's ready to play... even if he said he's ready to play now, I would not even want to play him on Thursday because it's too early to put him back in the lineup. Just because Thursdays nights are always known for injuries.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Thursday night games.
Right.
I mean, like you said, it's the whole injury thing. I mean, Richard Sherman, I think, didn't he tear his Achilles on a Thursday night last year?
I believe it was, so yeah.
Yeah, so Thursday night games, I mean, are problems to begin with. We both know that it's the NFL.
I don't think they're going anywhere, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, we both know.
For the players, at least.
Yeah, we both know it's the NFL just trying to drain out money, but...
Well, they're getting a lot of money for those games, so why get rid of it if it's getting a profit still?
Yeah, and looking at the Rams, I mean, do you think that this is a Super Bowl or bust type of year for them?
I wouldn't say Super Bowl or bust. I still think they have 2 or 3 years of contention left.
I'd say it's Super Bowl or bust, just mainly because looking at the offseason that they had. You brought on Talib, you brought on Peters, you brought on Sue, you brought on Cooks. I mean, you added a lot of top-tier players, and I feel you do that over an offseason. Your goal is to go out and win a Super Bowl. I think if maybe you brought on maybe like a Peters and Cooks, possibly, then maybe, yeah, you had a few years. But, I mean, with as many guys as they brought on, like, you don't need an Indomitian.
I think they think this is the best time to win a Super Bowl. If they don't, they still have a little more opportunity left. But I think they think right now this is their best time to win it. But if they don't win it, I still think they still have a couple more years of contention left.
Well, yeah, definitely. They still got about 5 years left or whatnot. But I'm just saying, as far as the moves they made this season... I mean, Sue's going to be gone after this year, I'm assuming. I mean, they only brought him on for a 1-year, $14 million deal.
He might retire. He's getting up there in age also.
But he's still playing at a dominant level, so it's just a matter of,
I guess it matters it's healthy, staying healthy.
Yeah, so you look at that. I mean, Talib, I think, is on the last year of his deal he's currently got on. Peters... Actually, let me take a look at their contracts. So I think Peters might be at the end of their deal, too. So a lot of these guys
there's a lot of short-term contracts with that team.
Yeah, just with the guys that they brought on. I mean, they did sign Cooks long-term, which was right. But as far as Peters, Talib, and all those other guys, I mean, yeah, it is short-term. So I think that is why it is a Super Bowl or bust type of season for them. I mean, looking at Sue, like I said, he's getting $14 million this year. And... he's only on it for a 1-year deal. He's an unrestricted free agent next season, so obviously that was one where
he
it's
can still re-sign with the team. It's not like he's going to say, I'm not really going to play with you guys. It depends on how they do this season.
They won't be able to re-sign Sue, given Sue's still going to demand top money as a defensive tackle. Right. You just paid Donald Gurley, and you got to worry about Goff also, plus you just paid Brandon Cooks too, so I don't think that would work. You got to offer Goff
as well. You got another 3 seasons of his rookie deal, so you can be a little greedy when it comes to certain players, but just you can't. They're going to keep on with these short-term contracts.
Yeah, and then looking at Marcus Peters, he's currently still on a rookie deal. He's only making about like a little less than $2 million. He is he's got another year after this with the Rams, and after that in 2020 he'll be a free agent. And then let me see if I could find Talib's contract real quick. But I think Talib also is on the final year of his deal. I think he's making about $11 million this year total. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, how they progress without these guys after. But like I said, I mean, I think it is Super Bowl or bust for them.
I wouldn't take them out of contention next
season.
I'm
not taking them out of contention, but I'm just saying this year, like, I think
this is their best chance to win. I agree with that.
Yeah, so we'll see what ends up happening with them. But like I said, I mean, as far as it goes, without Talib, they're still the top team in the NFC. Minnesota is, I don't know, would you take Minnesota or... who would you say actually are the top teams? I mean, Minnesota's looked good. They had a little blip in the radar with the Vikings or with the Bills, but I wouldn't really put that against them. I would still say Minnesota,
Los Angeles Rams, and see that third team. I don't think there's another team. Like you can say the Eagles, but they've been struggling too.
I'd say Philly, but I mean they're struggling the first 2 weeks without Wentz. Now they got their quarterback.
Would you put the Bears
back.
up there as the top teams in the NFC?
They're on their way. I wouldn't put them up there yet. I mean, they got the defense. It's just Trubisky. He's been kind of struggling.
He's been throwing a lot of picks.
Yeah, he's looking like a young quarterback, and that's, I mean, fine.
He's turning into Rex Grossman almost.
What happened?
He's turning like Rex Grossman almost.
I wouldn't
go. Him?
I wouldn't say that though. But
I mean, Rex Grossman did help the team get to this. Well, it didn't help, but he was the quarterback when they got to the Super Bowl in 2006.
Yeah, again, that team did have a solid defense. You also did have Devin Hester, who I'd say
and they had Brian Urlacher. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason. But I would definitely say that this Bears team is. You should not just look at them. Look off of them because of their poor offense. Their defense could take them to a playoff run, a deep playoff run.
Yeah, but I mean, you're looking at the Eagles, Rams, and Vikings. Those are complete teams right now. The Bears are nowhere near a complete team, just given their offense, I'd say. And as far as the production they're putting up on the offensive end. As far as Philly, I mean, yeah, they didn't look great on offense, I'd say, for the first 2 weeks, but now they got Wentz back. I think that's going to completely change. I think they're going to go back to being the dominant team that they were. And honestly, I think Philly is the team that we need to look out for as far as challenging the Rams. The Vikings are great all around, but like I said, I think it's the Eagles that we need to pay attention as far as when it comes to challenging the Rams.
So if you put the first seed as the Rams, do you put second seed as the Eagles or the Vikings?
I mean, it's too early to tell, but I'd say I'd go with the Eagles, just given they play in the NFC East, and you got the Vikings who still got to play the Packers one more time. You got to play the Bears twice, and the Lions are still decent.
True. But I'm definitely saying that the Rams needed this type of run with a good team just moving to LA. Mm-hmm. If they were still playing like they were playing in St. Louis, then who knows what the Coliseum would look like.
Yeah.
Because they needed that attendance before they get into the brand new stadium in the next couple of years. So they needed this more than any other team. This kind of good run.
I definitely can't wait for that new stadium. It's always great living in California, given it's only about a 4-hour drive to LA from where we're at. 5 hours, 6 hour.
But also it's basically a little city.
Yeah.
It's huge. And you don't want like a bad team to go in there as the face of that stadium. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Chargers are going to be pretty decent too, so we figured about that.
So honestly, it's probably the best time for these two teams to be good going into a new stadium like that.
And we do need to get the Chargers out of the StubHub Center because no one even shows up there.
Do you think it's because the Chargers are playing at a certain level, or do you think people just don't want to go to the games?
I think it's just the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers have never really been a big market team, a big name team or anything like that.
They actually did start in L.A. in the 60s with the AFL, but that was for one season. They went to San Diego. Do you think it should have stayed in San Diego?
I mean, I don't think they really had a choice. I don't think maybe they should have, but Dean Spanos didn't really want to stay there.
He was kind of greedy about it.
Yeah.
But now they're going to be in a huge L.A. stadium, which if they're good going into it like the Rams are, then they're going to get a crowd regardless.
Yeah, so we'll see what ends up happening. But
yeah, it's definitely going to be very interesting next couple of years as that stadium is built.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we're a little ways away from that too.
Yeah.
As well as the new Vegas stadium with the Raiders. There's still a lot to come. But I think, do you have any more to say about the Rams?
That's all I got for the Rams right now.
All right, so we're going to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the AFC East and the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots and their matchup on Sunday. And what are the repercussions heading after the math of that game? So we'll get right into that after this.
The average sedan is built with a steel frame and equipped with 6 airbags. Remember this the next time you see someone walking. Drivers, be aware. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety.
And welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. We've talked about the Rams, we've talked about Le'Veon Bell, we've talked about other places Le'Veon Bell could go to, like the Eagles, and now we're going to go on to the AFC East and the Dolphins and Patriots and that matchup on Sunday and the possible outcomes of that game and what effect it will have on that division. What do you think that's going to happen on that game that Sunday?
I'll save my pick for Friday, given that's when I usually make them. But as far as my biggest problem with this game is not the fact that, Miami's 3-0 coming into it or whatever, but it's the fact that if Miami were to lose this one, I feel like everyone's been kind of saying, okay, if Miami wins this one, they're a good team. If they lose, they're not. And I guess
it's early to tell, though. It's 3-0. A lot of teams start 3-0.
Yeah, and let's say, well, not even that, but it's just the fact that Miami comes out of this game 3-1. Mm-hmm. Are you going to say they're a bad team because they lost to the Patriots? I mean, end of the day, like I said, coming out of this game, no matter what, it's either they're coming out of this game losing and being up one game on the Patriots in that AFC East for the divisional lead, or they come out being up 3 games. I mean, I don't think it's fair to say, okay, if you don't beat this team, then yeah, you're just not good. Whatever you did before that meeting, beating the Titans, Jets, and Raiders, is meaningless. I mean, it is too early to tell what teams are good and what teams aren't, given, I mean, we've seen the Chiefs last year, they started off like 6-1 or whatnot, and ended up falling to 9-7, barely getting into the playoffs. So I'm not going to go and say, like, make any rash decisions after this game. I'm not going to say if Miami loses, they're a bad team. I'm not going to say if they win, they're a great team. I mean, obviously, if they do win in New England, it does prop them up a bit, given they've struggled in New England in the past. Last few years, they've been splitting with the Patriots, and that's kind of how I figured it would go this season, whether or not Miami was 3-0 or not. I figured that Miami, either way, was going to split with the Patriots, and I think them winning in New England is a tough task, and I said I'm not going to make my pick, and I'll wait till Friday, given I'm still kind of wavering. But as right now, I mean, it's still something that's tough, even with the Patriots being, what are they, 1-2?
Yeah, I don't think that's the same Patriots team we've seen in the past, though. I think that's a huge factor in this. And with Miami being 3-0, it's still, you're right, it's still we don't know if this is a fluke or not, or if this is just a team that starts hot and then ends poorly. But it's exciting to see actual competition in the AFCs for once.
Yeah, because, I mean, you look at it, the Patriots basically dominate since 2001. I mean, the only year that they didn't win it was back in 2008 when Brady tore his ACL. And
that team still went 11-5.
Yeah, and then you had Miami winning that division.
It's truly incredible how dominant that Patriots team has been in the last 17 years. And now with this, with them struggling early this season and Miami going 3-0, this is going to be one of the game. I say B game to watch besides the Vikings and Rams.
This game kind of reminds me of the year they fired Joe Philbin. You had Dan Campbell coming in to be the interim coach. They blow out Tennessee, I think it was. They blew out Houston. And, I mean, they're playing great. Their record is decent at the time. Then they got a Thursday night game in New England playing the Patriots. And, I mean, they were completely blown out the water there. Mm-hmm. And I think what I'm saying is, Miami, I think at that time we knew it was a bad team. Those 2 games, sure, whatever. They had 2 big wins. But like I said, right here, I wouldn't really say this determines whether or not they're a good team. So let's see. They're 3-0 right now. Week 4, they got the Patriots. Week 5, they got the Bengals. Week 6, they got the Bears. Week 7, they got the Lions. I'd say by week 7 or by week 8, if they're 5-3 by week 8, I'd say that makes them a good team. I'm not going to pass judgment on them this early on in the season.
All right, if they are go 5-3, do you see them getting a playoff spot after that?
Looking at the rest of the schedule, they'd have to play the Jets. I mean, I'm assuming they'd win there, given, I mean, it was a big win week 2 in New York. Then you play in Lambeau. That's going to be tough. So I'd say it's about 6-4 right there. Then they play the Colts. Miami's always done well against Andrew Luck, so I'd say they get a win there at 7-4. I'd say they beat the Bills at 8-4. And
well, the Bengals and Bears is also like those next 3 matchups are going to be tough.
Yeah,
no question about it.
I'd say that the Dolphins end up finishing somewhere around 9-7 or 10-6, somewhere in between there. 10-6, I think, gets them then. 9-7, it's possible, given we had a 9-7 team get in last, I think it was, with the Bills, if I'm not mistaken. But, I mean, like I said, they'll be in playoff contention by week 17, I'd still say.
Okay.
I'm not going to go and say that they're going to win the division or anything like that.
They do have a tough schedule, that's for sure.
Yeah, but like I said, as far as them in the division, I'm not going to go and write the Patriots off just yet, given it is the New England Patriots. We have seen this team, I mean, it feels honestly year in and year out struggle in September.
Right. But they always come out strong, you're right about that. So, it's only 3 weeks into the season. We're just getting into week 4. Who knows who's going to be in the playoffs by week 17?
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen people say, oh, well, Miami's 3-0, but who have they played? If you look at it, Philadelphia had, and I'm not comparing the Dolphins to the Eagles as far as saying Miami's going to go to the Super Bowl or anything like that. Just bear with me here for a second. All right, so the Eagles last year, their schedule was a cakewalk throughout, okay? They had tough games against the Rams. I think they played, I know their toughest game was against the Rams, and they won that one. But the biggest story was the Eagles was, are they going to be able to go deep into the playoffs given their easy schedule? And I don't think that I mean, you look at the schedule they played. Obviously, they went out and won the Super Bowl. I don't think you can knock an NFL team for handling business, even if their schedule is easy throughout. Yeah. I think it's kind of you play the team that's in front of you, and if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. Either way, you got to play the guys in front of you and do whatever you can to take that win.
Yeah.
I don't really play into the whole, this team is bad. I mean, we're looking at it. This is the NFL. You're not a bad player if you're playing in the NFL.
That's true. So it's still very early to tell, but that New England-Miami game is I believe it's going to be probably the most impactful game of the week. Like, just based on going into the next games after that.
I'd say as far as like narratives and storylines, sure.
Mm-hmm. It has the most story to it.
Yeah.
Maybe the Rams and Vikings too, but I think Miami definitely has a lot riding on this game. Even though it's an early matchup, it's still a very important matchup.
Yeah, because the storylines you'll get, if Miami wins this, okay, the storyline will be Miami is for real. And with the Patriots losing, the storyline will be, okay, this might be the end of the Patriots dynasty. And if Miami loses...
Let's wait on that.
Well, I'm just saying that's what the national media will put out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that hard to predict what they're going to be saying. And if Miami loses, it will be, same old Miami. And if the Patriots win, obviously, given if Miami loses, it will be, okay, the Patriots are back. They'll be fine. And
Do you think there's going to be overreactions regardless of the outcome?
Yeah, there's always overreactions everywhere. I mean, that's the media's job. That's what ESPN's job is. That's what Fox Sports' job is. It is to generate headlines and clicks and all that. Okay?
Right.
Because I remember switching over sports real quick with the NBA. You had Chris Haynes, the NBA writer for ESPN, put out an article last year saying LeBron, and this was while he was with the Cavs, LeBron could take a meeting with the Warriors. I think we all knew LeBron would never go to the Warriors or anything like that. But with them putting that out, it draws buzz and it draws clicks.
Right.
So, yes, the national media is going to overreact here. But, I mean, what can you do, I guess?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's still a great matchup, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's going to be close. I don't see a blowout. But if there is a blowout, it'll be a very surprising one.
I mean, Vegas has Miami, the Patriots favored by 6.5, I think 7. Do you think Patriots will cover in this one? Like, it's not about if the Patriots do win. Do you think they'll cover?
I can see this a one touchdown game. I can see this a one tug. If not, like a field goal.
Yeah.
I don't see it as like a 21-point demolishing of either team. I think that's a perfectly good estimate.
Yeah, because Miami going into New England, that's been their thing. They usually tend to lose by double digits in New England, at least the last few years. I think this year is different. I think it's going to be a much closer game, like you said, and I think for my 2 cents, my opinion on this, I think Miami actually does have a good team. Do I think they have a team who's going to win the AFC East? I wouldn't go as far to say that. I'm still saying the Patriots are the top dog. But as far as wild card picture goes towards the end of the season, at least from what I predicted earlier on the season, they will be in that mix. I'm not saying they'll go deep in the playoffs. I would
say this is probably one of their best chances to win the East in any other season last 10 years.
I mean, especially if they win here because... Yes, it's the Patriots, but if you're 3 games up on the Patriots in the AFC at any point in time, I mean, it is going to be tough for them to make up that ground. And plus, you look at the Patriots, the storyline within the storyline this week is Josh Gordon and them getting Julian Edelman the week after that. The Patriots have struggled as far as weapons on the offense. I mean, teams have basically said...
But defensively, they have not been playing well either.
That is true, and I mean, let's shift over to the Patriots real quick. When you said earlier in the segment, like this does kind of make you feel like this is a different Patriots team compared to the last that have struggled in September, right?
Yeah.
So we look at it. The Patriots, do you trust their defense?
No.
Do you say they, as of right now, they have any, before Josh Gordon plays or anything like that, do they have any top weapons on the offense?
Gronkowski.
And even then, I mean, he's been getting doubled, and when you're doubled,
Chris Hogan really hasn't been showing up.
Yeah, no, that's Philip Dorsett. He just got hurt. Will you say it's a given that Josh Gordon basically lights it up for this team?
No.
Okay.
This is one of the first times I've seen a player go into the Patriots team, and I'm not sure how he's going to respond.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the running backs. Are the running backs up to this point anything special?
White has been kind of disappointing lately.
Yeah, he's been disappointing.
Losing Deion Lewis was a huge factor, though.
And I think, you know what? It could be that Belichick's, I don't want to know if like ego is used as such like a bad term, but with Belichick, I think ego is the right term here. The fact that he has been able to let guys go, not pay them, and bring in other guys to fill in and produce the same way, I think that
you think he's taking that for granted now?
I think that could be catching up to him this year.
I would have Deion Lewis was a big part of that offense,
especially catching the ball at the backfield, not just running.
He was a dangerous dual threat, and he was asking for some money, but I think he was entitled to it. How well he'd been playing with the Patriots,
and
White played good in that one Super Bowl 51, but I think Deion Lewis was still the better running back.
Yeah, I definitely say so too, and I think I'm not really sure why Belichick has just simply refused to pay guys. I mean, I guess, like I said, if you're able to...
I think he wants to set an example, like, no one's above me type of thing. No one can hold me out type of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's more of him having power over people.
Because we've seen guys like Chandler Jones go. I mean, they just didn't pay Randy Moss, and it's worked out more times than not. Usually when he lets guys go...
Not paying Randy Moss was probably not the best decision, though.
I'd say it was okay, because after that...
He was getting close to the end of his career, granted, but... When he went to the 49ers after that, you could tell he still had something to offer. Even his last season, he played productively.
But not to the point like a Randy Moss type of production, though, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I'd say now it is starting to catch up to
If Brady
Bill Belichick.
didn't get hurt that one season with Moss still in his prime with them, I think that team has a shot at the Super Bowl once again.
Yeah, and I mean, they should
He still went 11-5 with Matt Castle, and Randy Moss still played amazing. Mm-hmm. If you add Brady to that, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But with... like how you said, how Belichick handles contracts, that could be like why people are talking about this start of the ending of the dynasty.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, everything eventually does come to an end, and eventually the plan that you've been running for years, it gets pretty much like people...
It'll run thin.
Yeah, it'll run thin. I think that could be happening here. Deion Lewis, I'd say, maybe is the biggest loss to this team from last year.
He was he was very underrated with the Patriots.
Yeah, because it's like, I think if you have Deion Lewis here, you're not really worrying about your receiving problems.
He was a true dual threat.
Yeah.
He could run the ball, and he could have been one of those big-time receivers for that team, and he was.
He has the ability, like a game similar to a Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, David Johnson. Not as good as them. I'm not saying that for those out there who might be overreacting.
But he could put a huge impact on a team, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's good at catching the ball.
He was one of the top free agents going into the last year.
And even then, I mean, Derrick Henry last year, we saw, okay, it's time to get rid of DeMarco Murray, make Derrick Henry the guy, and I'd say even Deion Lewis
I would say that was a little premature, too, because DeMarco Murray's kind of a one-dimensional player. He's a power runner, but... like Deion Lewis is a multi-dimensional player.
Yeah, and
I think they got very good. They got very lucky getting Deion Lewis in that free agency.
Yeah, Deion Lewis, I mean, is even taking some snaps away from a guy like Derrick Henry, who was supposed to be, I guess, quote unquote, the guy.
I think Deion Lewis deserves those snaps as much as Derrick Henry.
Yeah, because he's been playing much better.
Yeah. So that's how I think of the Patriots. That like losing Deion Lewis was probably a huge factor. If he was playing in this game, I think it would be a different story when it comes to facing Miami. But that's how much of a factor he was, in my opinion. Do you have anything else about the Miami Dolphins or the New England Patriots?
As far as this game goes, I'm curious to see. Miami has forced a lot of turnovers in the first 3 games. I'm not thinking they make Brady throw 2 picks or anything like that, but more so...
Do you think Micah Fitzpatrick is a threat against the Patriots?
Yeah, I think he'll lock up whoever's in the slot. I'm curious to see how they deal with Gronk, and the matchup I'm looking for is... Xavier Howard versus Josh Gordon. We know Gordon is going to be playing in this one. Xavier Howard, he's been playing lockdown, been one of the more underrated cornerbacks. I think now he's starting to get a little bit more national attention.
He has been getting a lot of picks recently.
I think if Xavier Howard limits Gordon, and I think this is a game Miami possibly wins.
But again, Josh McDaniels is that offensive coordinator, and he has a track record of being very good and very knows what to do. So... it's going to be a very interesting match to see how Gordon does.
One quick note, if Edelman was in this game, I'd say the Patriots really don't have any issues on offense against Miami. But given if you're able to lock down Gordon with one-on-one with Howard and you're able to limit Gronkowski, I mean, you can't really key on, you can't really, like, how do you lean on Hogan or any of those running backs to get
I think Hogan hasn't been handling that well. And if Edelman avoids those 3 letters, P-E-N-D, this was not an issue.
Yeah.
I understand. I don't even understand why people do this, but we won't get into that. That's Julian Edelman's fault. But I think that'll be it for this segment. But when we come back, we'll talk about anything else in the NFL or anything else you would like to talk about, Jesse. But we'll get into that when we come back.
The average SUV has 2 blind spots, weighs between 4,000 and 6,000 pounds, and takes about 6 seconds to stop. Remember this the next time you're on foot. Pay attention, people. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety.
back to the GSMC Football Podcast. We've talked about a lot of things. We talked about the Rams. We've talked about Le'Veon Bell. We've talked about the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots matchup. But now I think we should get into more of the rookie quarterbacks, since I believe most of the first round picks have been starting now. Because Baker Mayfield's starting, Sam Darnold is starting, Josh Rosen is starting, and Josh Allen is starting. Who do you see as your main? Sorry to interrupt. But who do you see as your probably the best rookie quarterback right now?
I'd say, it's a small sample size, and I was just going to mention earlier that Lamar Jackson, I think, is the only one out of the first-round picks to not start.
Oh, yeah, he was 32nd, but I wouldn't put him as, like, one of those main
he won't be. He's a work in progress. He's a project. But as far as the quarterbacks now, it is early to tell. As far as the ones who I think will be the most successful as the season goes on, I'm sorry, but that game Thursday night between the Jets and Browns and watching Baker Mayfield, I'm all in on Baker Mayfield. I'd say he has the most talent around him in order to help him succeed.
And that's saying something because he's on the Browns.
Yeah.
So that's good for him. But let's just go just real quick with Lamar Jackson, since he's in that first round quarterbacks. Is he in front of RG3, you say?
Say that again real quick.
Just about the Ravens and them having RG3 and
Lamar Jackson? Well, I think, so you look at it, I think if Flacco was to stink or play bad or whatever you want to call it, I think, and they pull a mid-game, Lamar is going to come in, but I think that Harbaugh would make RG3 the starter after that. I think we've all seen, and Harbaugh included, that Lamar Jackson isn't ready to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
I agree with that. And he has been playing some downs, like with some trickery, but I don't think he passed. I don't think he passed a pass. I think he just ran the ball.
I hate how they use him basically and pretty much throw him out as a wide receiver, like a wildcat or anything like that. Because I feel more times than not, I'd say about 95% of the time, we all know he's not getting the ball. And I'd say if you line him up at quarterback and you put Flacco out there on the boundary receiver or whatever, Flacco's not getting the ball. I feel like every time you put Lamar Jackson in with Flacco, you're playing 10 on 11.
You think there's too many trick plays they're trying with Lamar?
Not even that.
You think they're trying to force Lamar into the offense?
I wouldn't say that. It's just the more, like I said, it's the whole 10 on 11. One of them isn't going to do anything on this play.
Yeah.
And I think if you have Lamar Jackson lining up at receiver, like let's say they put him in the slot or whatever, I am blitzing whoever is on him.
Okay. But do you think it's like a Terrell Pryor type of thing, where he might become a wide receiver in the future? Or do you see him as quarterback? I
hope not. I hope they play him as quarterback. Because, as far as skill for skill, tool for tool, if he's able to become accurate, I'd say he's the most explosive quarterback out of all, and I'd say he could probably do most given he's a dual threat type of quarterback. Honestly, I've always thought he could, and again, this is if he develops accuracy and is able to become a decent passer. He
did struggle last year with Louisville going into the draft, which didn't do him any favors.
And I'd say if he's able to develop a decent arm and decent accuracy, then he could be a new version of Michael Vick, just given how explosive he has taken off with the ball.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him as the next Michael Vick, but I would definitely say him as a possible Michael Vick type of player. Yeah,
I'd say they're similar skill sets.
And then you're looking at the ones that are starting now with Mayfield, Donald, and Allen and Rosen. Who do you say is the one that you think would take a team to a playoffs if any of those four teams?
Like I mentioned earlier, I think it's Baker Mayfield. He's got Jarvis Landry. I like Antonio Callaway. I like Rashard Higgins. I like David Njoku. And it's just, I think Baker Mayfield, like we saw it on Thursday night, we were talking about it last week, he has that it factor, I think. He just came in and everything changed. The defense was playing much better. The defense was playing well throughout, so I'm not going to really try and say...
I think the defense was fine with or without him, but I think the offense had a different mood about him.
Yeah, it's just that added... I don't know what the word I'm looking for here. I think it's just...
He changed the attitude, I think.
Yeah, he just put an added fire, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Momentum type of thing. Like, as soon as he came in, it's just the entire game switched up. He was driving him down the field. He had no passing touchdowns or anything like that, but, you could clearly tell, I think we could both agree he was the biggest reason why they ended up winning that game.
Absolutely, but I would definitely say let's wait until he has one full game.
And that's going to be against the Raiders in Oakland this week, so, that's going to be one I wish I could actually make it out to.
Yeah, but I would definitely put it out as, let's hold off on him being the guy for now because, again, he didn't start that game. He finished up the first half with 10 seconds with a 2-minute drill. and he has done a full start. So after I see him do one full start, then I would start to say, like, maybe I'll get on that wagon. But again, I think it takes more time for me personally to see a guy, because I was silly and went on the Colin Kaepernick bandwagon when that happened, and I learned my lesson. So I've always been hesitant about quarterbacks who start off hot like that.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I mean, Ron Jaworski was trying to say he'd end up being one of the greatest 49er quarterbacks of all time, and I still think Cap was a good quarterback. I think it's just a matter of he's not a guy who makes other guys better, I think.
He got figured out and didn't adapt.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, he didn't really have the most talented of rosters towards the end of it. I mean, that 49ers team took a real
He kind of was the reason they lost the NFC title game to Seattle, because he threw that pass to Crabtree when he was covered by Sherman.
Yeah.
And if you watch that clip again, Anquan Bolden's wide open in the middle of the field in the end zone. It's very frustrating to watch if you're just a fan of football.
Yeah, I don't really put a game on a player, though, because there's other opportunities in games where a player drops a ball there or does that, and it might have changed it up. So I think it's more so.
But I would definitely say that poor decision cost them the game.
I wouldn't say it costs.
We can't get into this. Yeah. But I'm saying that Colin Kaepernick got figured out quickly, a little too quickly, and didn't really adapt very well.
Yeah. And I mean, as far as looking at these other rookie quarterbacks, I mean, I like Mayfield. I'm curious to see how Rosen does, just mainly because of the fact that for some reason Arizona just hasn't wanted to run the ball with David Johnson. I mean, I don't understand it, but I feel like if you want Rosen to succeed, I'd assume Johnson needs the ball about 20 times at least.
Even some check down passes to Johnson. Just make Johnson the face of your offense.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it. A guy like the running back like David Johnson should be every rookie quarterback's best friend. If you're under pressure, where's David Johnson at? Okay.
Right, he should be your security blanket.
Yeah, I'm not really like, I don't need to be throwing the ball as much. Like if you're an offensive coordinator, also my quarterback doesn't need to be throwing.
Mayfield used Carlos Hyde as a security blanket basically for that game.
Carlos Hyde. I mean, as soon as Mayfield came in, I feel like Carlos Hyde got much better throughout the game.
Yeah, I think he got the ball more throughout the game after that.
And that's it too.
I didn't think they didn't want to put too much pressure on Mayfield right away.
Yeah, because you look at a guy like Josh Allen, I wasn't so sure. Like we've only seen.
I was very impressed though by him.
Yeah, you look at that one game against Minnesota. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to sustain that throughout, just because like LaShawn McCoy is solid, but
he's not the same he used to be.
Like and it's plus too they don't have receivers to where Josh Allen kind of has like that security blanket, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going to stack the box against LaShawn McCoy, so I don't think Allen could really look to McCoy as much as like a Baker Mayfield could look at Hyde.
I don't even know who their one is.
The one receiver, Benjamin. I mean,
oh right, and he's the. I can see him as a number 2 receiver. I don't see him as a number 1.
That's how I've always viewed him. I mean, I'd say he's a bust, just mainly because he was drafted in the first round. But I think he's never really been a number 1. A lot
of receivers get too much of that bust standpoint when they're drafted first round, because you're not getting the ball always, and you're always going to be like. Kind of left out of some plays in some games.
Go ahead, and you kind of look at it, maybe this player should have been drafted later on. Like Corey Coleman, I think, is a guy who should have never been a first-round pick. I think if he would have been drafted like 3rd or 4th round, he's probably still in the league, given he's putting up number 2 receiver-type numbers and all that.
I think wide receivers picked in the first round have to be some special talents. I think usually receivers should be second-round players type of thing. I wouldn't, because a wide receiver can't really carry your team unless they're a really special player, like a Randy Moss type of guy.
Yeah.
So drafting them in the first round, you're going to put a lot of pressure on them right away, and they're immediately going to be covered as soon as you pick them.
Like you look at Laquan Treadman, he got drafted in the first round, but he's the number 3 receiver on the Vikings, and I'd say I'm not sure if.
But there's other great receivers on the Vikings.
Yeah, but even before I'd say Thielen broke out, and even. Well, I mean, it is tough, but like I said, I mean, even with Treadwell, he hasn't really shown any explosiveness of being, yes, I am that first-round pick, number 1 receiver.
Calvin Johnson obviously was the right choice for the 2nd overall pick. Maybe it should have been 1st overall pick, but people debate, which is true. But, and Randy Moss is one of those guys, the 1st-round pick, he can change up an offense. There's not a lot of receivers coming out of a draft that have changed an offense. Yeah. Sammy Watkins was supposed to be that guy and didn't become that guy.
I feel like I feel like people have just come accustomed to the
Calvin Ridley has impressed, though, but he's not the number 1 guy. I think he went to the perfect team for that 1st-round pick because he just added another weapon with Julio.
And that's the thing, too. It's like my thing with expectations and wide receivers. Okay, Calvin Ridley is the perfect mention for that. Everyone knew that Julio is the number 1. You bring in Ridley. I mean, I'd say even in his first year, people thought, okay, Sanu's still going to be the number 2, and Ridley's going to be a guy who, I mean, in a few years eventually will take over that role. Team. Yeah, the expectations, I think, were perfect for him, I'd say.
If he went to any other team, he's the number 1 guy and does not get he does not get a very good season because he's going to be guarded as the number one guy. So you're going to get the number one corner on that other team after you.
Yeah, and you mentioned Sammy Watkins. I feel like a lot of what these Clemson receivers, people just tend, he's from Clemson, he should be solid. And I've never really understood that. Like, Clemson does have solid receivers as far as college, but a lot of these Clemson guys have never really come out into the NFL.
Receivers in general have not. Like, there's only been a handful of receivers, I would say, first-round picks that have really became Pro Bowl, All-Pro type guys.
I mean, you look at it, I'd say the top 5 receivers are, not in any order, but Antonio Brown, Hopkins, Julio, I'd say OBJ, and Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, I think, was he a first-round pick?
I believe he was a second or
I think
third.
Michael Thomas was a second-round pick.
And OBJ was a first.
He was a first. Him and Julio were first. But you look at Hopkins, I think he was a late-round pick, and so was Brown. I mean, a lot of the top receivers, a lot of the top receivers I think in the league are guys who were really middle round picks and all that. I mean, it's tough to pick a receiver early on in the draft.
I think because they're drafted so like in the low rounds, they're not looked at like in tapes or in defensive schemes when playing them. If you pick a guy first round, on the offensive side, if he's not a lineman, they're going to be looking at him in the tapes because they're like, okay, they picked this guy to think he's going to help their offense, so they're going to probably try to get him the ball a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, it's all a matter of like just where you're drafted and expectations, and like for Kelvin Benjamin, Corey Coleman, it's all unfair.
That's always with drafts.
Yeah,
it's just too much expectation.
I think with the receivers more so because I think everyone's expecting like that Julio Jones and all that.
The thing is with the draft is you're expecting them to come and become goats. And in reality, that's not the case. That you got to give him some time to marinate. Yeah,
I tend to look at a player like if he's in year 3 or whatever, and he's not playing well. Chances are it's not going to be a pick that works out. If he is playing well, then it is a pick you hit on. But like I said, fans and I'd say
it's more. You can't really do that. It's a project. It's not like something. It's not an A right away.
Because like they say, it's a results-driven league. And
There's
all
only
that.
been a handful of players ever drafted that are become instant best players on the team, best players in the league. Like I would say that like. I don't know. I don't remember the last guy that came out of the draft and became the guy and kept continuing to be the guy. Yeah. Maybe Cam Newton, but he had some struggles though.
Yeah, and you mentioned Cam Newton. We were talking about, I remember the other day about Heisman quarterbacks who Heisman winning quarterbacks haven't really turned out. Cam Newton, I said, is the only one.
Well, I would say there were ones in the 70s that were great, like Roger Staubach and all those guys. But I would say in the last 15 years, the quarterback in the Heisman
Cam Newton has been the only, I'd say, one who really turned out.
And yet he had some bad years.
Yeah. I mean,
so
there's
always been big ifs, ands, or buts when it comes to the draft. There's never a guarantee. If there ever was a guarantee, it's like Peyton Manning was known as his guarantee, and he came out 3-13 his first year.
Did Luck win a Heisman?
Luck did not win a Heisman.
That's kind of crazy when you think about it. How good he was.
Peyton Manning didn't win a Heisman either.
Yeah, but I mean,
Luck, Charles Woodson was a beast at defensive back with Michigan.
Luck might have been a product of that. No one watches the Pac-12.
It's really not fair. They only look at like the SEC and the ACC.
Yeah, because there's a lot of solid Pac-12 players.
The SEC is favored when it comes to rankings.
Yeah, SEC bias is definitely real.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
like it's not even like I remember Alabama losing some games, and yet they're still ranked number 1.
Yeah,
it's like really you're like, and then there's some Pac-12 teams that I think are sometimes better than SEC teams, and they're still not ranked as high.
Yeah, it's just I guess it's just a matter of they get to play early on in the day.
SEC, you're not being ranked 1 or 2.
Yeah,
you might get like Washington with the fourth when they got picked 4th for the playoffs. They got kind of lucky.
Yeah,
they were a great team, no doubt about it. But again, it's like one of those things where you're not going to see a Pac-12 team as number 1. Or any other thing besides SEC.
I can't remember the last time a Pac-12 team was number 1. Might have been like those old USC teams, unless I'm just
Oregon?
Oregon might have. Because I remember when they went to the national title. I think were they 2 that year?
Yeah, they might have been 1 later on in the year.
Oregon, I remember those Oregon teams were really solid.
We know that was 2014, right?
I think.
Because they lost to Arizona when they were number 2. So they might have been 1 going into that season.
Yeah, they might have been 1 a couple times. Which
that's like the closest you'll see a Pac-12 team going.
Yeah, definitely.
As for Stanford, I don't see them going. Let's just go to college football real quick. Do you see that a Pac-12 team like Stanford going into the playoffs this year?
No. These Pac-12 teams, they're good, but they tend to lose those late in the season type games. Like Washington always has that one blunder. Stanford always has a game where it's like they just don't show up and they end up losing. You lose that one game in the Pac-12 and they'll completely write you off in the playoff.
And talk about the playoffs. Do you think it should go from 4 to 6? Or do you think 4 is a fair number?
I think 4 is fine.
Mm-hmm. I just think like maybe give like those teams that are 5 and 6 an opportunity to see what they can do, because some of those teams are just as good.
Yeah, but I think if you do 4, if you move on 4, you have to kind of go to 8 unless you're going to give the top 2 teams a bye.
Yeah. Well, I guess that they're still in the process of just learning how this whole college football playoff works.
I like 4.
It's still in its infancy.
I like 4 because it makes it kind of like exclusive in a way, and it's like these are the 4 best teams right here.
And they're still doing it off bowl games. Like the playoff games are bowl games, so you cannot have like 4 of those games bowl games being taken over by the playoffs.
Yeah, so I don't really have a problem with it at this point.
But going into that, I don't see how a Peach Bowl is up there with the Rose Bowl in playoff situation. I don't know why Peach Bowl is one of those 4 games that gets a playoff game.
I think it's just about the money that's being brought in, I guess.
Yeah. Just when you think of great bowl games, Peach Bowl is not one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that all should do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll talk more about college football tomorrow with the games coming up after that, and we'll talk about the Thursday night matchup between the Vikings and the Rams. But until then, we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.